and Son Roofing and Remodeling Studio. This is The Point. 95.9 FM. 1470 AM.
It's time for Success in Real Estate with Frankie Griffin, owner and broker in charge of the Palmetto Success Team, certified residential specialist, accredited buyer representative, military relocation professional, real estate appraiser, and author of Success in Real Estate. If you are interested in buying or selling a home, investing in real estate, or having your home appraised, you will enjoy Success in Real Estate. Now, here's Frankie Griffin.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Success in Real Estate. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. As always, we want to make sure you are able to make an informed decision with your next real estate transaction. So we want to make sure we help you with any kind of real estate needs. As always, please feel free to call in with any questions or any comments. The number in studio is 803-799-8255. Again, 799-8255. And I got a number of things I want to talk about today, but we're certainly going to start out talking about some plumbing and some plumbing issues, problems, and see if we can't help you with that. Because in studio, I've got Jim the plumber. Actually owns Jim the plumber. Is that how we doing, Jim?
Doing good.
Awesome. First of all, thank you for coming, because I know you're so busy and you got customers waiting on you right now.
Yes, sir.
Wanting you to hurry up. So, but I just wanted to bring you on because, you've done some work at my house. You've done some work for me, obviously, in the past. And very impressed with what you do. Now, you've got your son with you, and this is kind of like a family.
That's correct.
Plumbing company.
We got 8 children, and by one wife, one marriage, and
8 children.
8 children.
Good night. You better fix some pipes in a hurry, then.
Yeah, that's one reason we always got to work.
Wow. So how long have you been plumbing, Jim?
14 years.
That's a while. That's why I'm sure you've seen pretty much everything now.
Pretty much. We always learn something new, though. You never can actually say you know it all when it comes to plumbing.
Well, if I don't know, which I don't know much at all when it comes to plumbing, at least I know who to call. Jim the plumber.
Well, we thank you for that.
And we will. But hey, let me start out by talking about tankless water heaters. Because, in real estate, we're seeing that a lot, and buyers really like the idea that a house has a tankless heater versus your traditional 30, 40-gallon heater. But, I'm seeing it's also, I think, increases value. Obviously, if that's what the buyer would prefer, then they're going to likely be willing to pay a little bit more for the tankless versus the 30 or 40-gallon heater. Are you seeing a trend where we're going away from the tank heaters and going to the tankless?
I think probably in the next 10 years, you're going to see tankless just grow tremendously, and to see a tank heater is going to be like a dinosaur. They still have their place. I don't believe they'll be as near as big as what they used to be. It's just more liability with a tank heater failing sooner than a tankless heater failing. You got a long time before a tankless heater usually fails, and a tank heater has an average lifespan now of 8 to 10 years, and after that that's about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's sort of what caused me to go to tankless, because you came to look at my water heater, and it was just shot. It was just shot, and I finally, so I pulled the trigger. I said, that's enough. I'm done with that. I'm going with the tankless. That's sort of where everybody's going now. They cost a little bit more than the tank heaters, but it saves money over time. Do you see that?
It does cost more. They're usually double or triple of what a tank heater is, in most cases. And as long as they're set up properly and installed properly on the house, meaning you can put a tankless heater right where the old tank heater is, that don't mean that's always the best place for that tankless heater. A lot of times you got travel time of trying to get hot water, trying to get to a certain spot, and that's the problem. You can move that tankless around the house and divide the house just about in half and speed up the process of getting hot water. Now, tankless does not mean instant hot water. It just means hot water will never run out. And a lot of people don't explain that. You know, a lot of your plumbers don't explain any of that kind of thing. Everybody has in their mind that tankless means instant, and it does not mean instant. There's actually a delay of 3 to 5 seconds, depending on what unit you use, to get hot water to even be starting to make, plus the travel time. Mm-hmm. And so in that process, you know, people get dissatisfied because people don't install them in the right spot, or they don't install them with the gas side, don't have enough gas to really run that heater efficiently. You have to have the proper gas size. You just can't just run any gas line and any size line. You have to have the proper volume of gas to get where you need to go.
Well, you know, and funny you should say that, because I talked to a lot of people that have told me that they love the tankless heater, but sometimes they'll have to turn the water on, and it might be a minute or so before warm water starts coming through. And that kind of made me nervous a little bit, but I haven't seen that. Not with, I mean, it maybe 10, 15 seconds, and then it's hot. I mean, you can't, it'll burn you if you, I mean, it's hot.
Well, we actually moved your heater about 15 foot further down the road, so to split the house a little bit better when we installed yours compared to where your water heater was. And so that 10 foot makes a difference.
Yeah.
And, you know, and when you're trying to heat up cold pipes and you know, it depends on what kind of material it is. So that all that makes a difference on how efficient it's going to be and how efficient it's going to work.
So if someone is considering putting in a tankless heater, the placement of that heater is critical.
It's very critical.
And apparently what some plumbers are doing, they will just put it wherever it's easiest to put it, maybe so they don't have to run lines, gas lines, if it's a gas. Do they have electric?
They do have electric. They're not near as efficient. A lot of times in smaller restaurants, we've been using them for hand sinks, the little electric ones. But to run a whole house, there's not. It makes your electric bill go up too much.
Okay. Well, we're about out of time in this first segment, but if you have any questions about water heaters or any kind of plumbing at all, or real estate, we want to help you. The number to call is 799-8255, 799-8255. Be right back with some more Success in Real Estate.
5.9 FM and 1470 AM.
All right, good morning again. Welcome back to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin, broker in charge and appraiser. And this morning we're talking about some plumbing things, issues, if you will. And love to hear from you if you have any questions or comments. The number is 799-8255. Again, 799-8255. And in studio, I've got my buddy Jim the plumber. He's done some work for me at my house, and I'm just so ecstatic, especially over this tankless water heater. I absolutely love this thing. And Jim, I can tell you, I've actually noticed my electric bill is a lot less. Of course, I'm not using it's gas. And in fact, that was the other thing I wanted to ask you, because if we're using gas, you can use natural gas or propane.
That's correct.
But you got to have the right heater there's different heaters for different types of gas. Is that right?
That's correct. You can't use the same heater. They're made two different burner systems. They're two different kinds of gases, and so you have to know which one you want to buy to install.
Is there one that you think is more efficient or cheaper? Is propane cheaper than natural, or?
Well, propane's prices go up and down as the supply and demand is. So, I wouldn't say propane's cheaper to run, but a lot of times if you ain't got natural gas, that's all the only choice you have is to run propane.
Right. Well, I love it. Now, does natural gas or propane, does one or the other get or make your water hotter at all, or is it?
No, it actually, they're both similar.
Okay.
There's not much difference in between the two of them.
Well, one of the reasons I wanted to really talk about these tankless heaters is because, one, that buyers prefer this now. I have a lot of buyers looking for homes nowadays, and that's one of the things that they're specifically requesting is a house with a tankless heater. They're more efficient. I believe that, and it works great for mine. Now, it might mean I don't have a large house either, so that might help out some.
Well, it matters how many people you have in that house. You'll see a savings up to 4 people. After 4 people, when you start hitting the 5th and 6th person, your water consumption is a lot higher on hot water, and so then your electric bill, you won't see quite the amount of savings that you would. And a gas tank heater, a lot of people have those, and that yours are more of a savings on that compared to electric also.
Okay.
But you can figure an electric heater is costing you just about $1 to $1.50 a day to have that thing on and running underneath your house, and it depends how old it is. But the newer ones is just about $1 a day, and sometimes a little bit more. Depends on how much hot water you're using. But that's what it takes to keep hot water in your house. And, a tankless heater, you can figure on a month cycle, it's usually $5 to $6 a person.
Okay.
And so that's where you would see your savings at.
Well, again, I love them, and it didn't take you hardly any time. I mean, it wasn't long to have that thing installed.
It takes about 4 hours.
I didn't even think it was that long. Y'all were very quick with that, and you had to run that gas line almost the length of my house.
Yep. Yeah. We actually did some hard pipe on your house.
So, but a lot of plumbers say I might have just stuck it up there close to where the gas source was, and that might not have been the best place to put it.
Yeah. If I know a lot of people would actually stuck it right beside the meter, and which is okay, but you would have had longer distance to get back to your bedrooms and things. And we tried to split that difference between the kitchen sink and the back bedrooms to even that out, so you're not, and I tell people, if you got to sacrifice one, which one do you want to sacrifice? Because sometimes we can't help but sacrifice one or the other. And if they're really into cooking and baking, people don't want to wait for hot water.
Right.
And so I move that thing to the kitchen. So we sacrifice the bedroom. But if someone's not into cooking and they don't really care about that, then we sacrifice the kitchen and we move it closer to the other. And see, what people don't understand is that when you turn that water off, the hot water heater shuts off. And then when you turn it back on, it takes 3 to 5 seconds to start back up to get it going again. And so you're going to have a cold spurt of 3 to 5 seconds of water. And I just try to let the customer know all the negativity and the good sides of a tankless.
Okay.
I mean, you can sit there and tell all the good side, but what's the negative side? Because if no one ever hears about it, then they just don't know. And that's, I try to give the honest opinion all the way around, not just for a sale, but to make sure they're going to be happy with it. And the worst thing is that I hate is someone to make an investment and for me to do the work and they're not satisfied. And it's just hard to, anytime you have a dissatisfied customer, it's just hard to keep that going.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Well, in the time we have left in this segment, I want to kind of switch gears a little bit and talk about something that has been an issue, and home inspectors write this up a lot, is if the house has polybutylene pipes in it. And First of all, what is polybutylene?
It's just a type of plastic that they used, and it's a poly. I'm not that correct on the scientific term of it, but it's a type of plastic they used back in the earlier days of plumbing. And actually, the pipe most of the time is pretty good. It's all the plastic fittings they used with it, and that's what gave it such a bad rap. When they had metal fittings and copper fittings when they first started, it wasn't any issues. And then they went to a different kind of plastic. Well, that plastic over time, especially on the hot water side, does not hold up. And that's what we're seeing, and that's why polybutylene had the lawsuit against it, is because of the fittings most of the time, not so much the pipe. And
well, in fact, what I'm hearing a lot is where you have the most problems is when you start mixing like polybutylene with PVC.
Yeah, well, there's just not a good transition fitting between the two of them, and so that adds another problem with it when you're trying to adapt from one side to another. Without, you can use male and female adapters, but there's not always a good transition fitting, and that's not usually the best. I like to have a hard pipe, so there's actually a chance of no leak. And that, when we say hard connections, that's what we're talking about.
Well, today I think you find most people have the PVC pipes in their house, but listening to you before we came on the air, we may start seeing some problems with PVC.
Yeah, or CPVC.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, CPVC is, I got a feeling, is going to be just as bad as poly was back in the 80s and 90s. Because I got a feeling it's just going to be so brittle. The life expectancy of it is you can, as long as you don't touch it, you're fine. But it's getting so brittle that if you go to cut on it, it just shatters or breaks. And if you bump it, it'll just break on you right at the joint.
Right.
And so when it breaks, of course, you got a flood. And so, but, people don't understand. They say, well, that was the best. There's nothing going to last forever. And, copper has its life expense. If you got type L, that's a 50-year copper. If you got type M, that's 25. And so, copper only has so much life with it. And, CPVC only has so much life. And they got a new pipe called PEX pipe now. And it goes together a lot like polybutylene did. And I have actually cut some of that pipe that's 30 years old when I was working out west. And it cut just like brand new pipe. I couldn't believe it. And I was really shocked how well durable it was.
Well, Jim, I mean, this is all really fascinating information because I don't know too many pipes from another for sure. But I do want to make sure people know how to get in touch with you. So have you got a phone number we can call?
It's a 518-5608.
Again, 518-5608. And if you're riding down the road and you couldn't catch that number, you can always just go to my website, frankiegriffin.com. Click on the Real Estate Partners link, and there you will find all our real estate partners, to include Jim the plumber. His phone number and contact information is right there. So if you really need someone quickly that will come and help you, and Jim, you might not like me saying this, but I think you're much more economical than some other plumbers. So, but Jim, thank you so much for being on the show with me. Be right back with some more Success in Real Estate.
.9 FM and 1470 AM.
All right, good morning again. Welcome back to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin, broker in charge and appraiser. Thank you for joining us this morning. And, we just, the first half of the show, we were talking about some water heaters and some plumbing tips with Jim the plumber. And look, if you need a plumber, please go to my website. You can go to frankiegriffin.com. go to my real estate partners page, and there you'll find Jim the plumber. All his information, his contact information and stuff is right there. Give him a call. It does an awesome job. Well, somebody else that you will find on that real estate partners page, and right up at the very top, is my friend Andy On with On and McKay Law Firm, which happens to be on the line with us as we speak. How we doing, Mr. Andy?
All right, my friend. How you doing? It's a fine day, isn't it?
Isn't it, though? I like that. That sounds good.
You know, I was listening to the show on the way into work today, and Kevin Cohen was talking about you, and he said, man, I tell you, every time I talk to Frankie, I feel like $1 million. He said, every time I ask him how he's doing, he says, it's a fine day.
It's got to be.
I look forward to asking you how you're doing, because I don't care what kind of bad day I'm having. And I've had 5 Mondays this week. I know you're going to tell me it's a fine day, and I love that.
It has to be. It has to be.
Yeah, man.
Well, I hope you're doing well.
Doing great. Got a lot going on. This is really one of the first times I've called in this year, Frankie.
Yeah.
So Happy New Year to you. Belated Happy New Year to you.
Same to you.
2015 was a superb year for our law firm. A lot of wonderful accomplishments, both on the litigation side as well as the real estate side. As your listeners may know, we're involved not only in real estate closings, but we do an awful lot of trial work helping injured victims of automobile accidents, wrongful death victims, and their families. And we've been fortunate this past year to have represented a host of really great clients and been able to help them overcome some pretty tough and horrific situations. So we've been blessed with the opportunity to represent those folks, and also blessed with a great real estate year. 2015 was great, and 2016 is turning out to be a superb year as well. Mm-hmm. I was fortunate enough yesterday to speak to 2 classes at your school, and let me tell you, man, you were loading them in there, Frankie.
Well, we've been very blessed, and
we had I spoke to one class both classes were standing room only for the most part. You got them maxed out in both classes, and the questions from those students were just, really good. I think that y'all are really tapping into some really good talent out there, and hopefully that's going to mean good things for the real estate industry as a whole. I wanted to touch base with you. Every month we try to do at least 2 industry-wide events, to essentially help to educate realtors and real estate professionals about different issues going on from a legal standpoint. Mm-hmm. And this month we are fortunate enough to be able to host an event on short sales. We call it Turning Short Sales Stress into Real Estate Success. How you like that? I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good on the marketing side, ain't it?
Yeah.
But this is going to be at a great listing. Sam Jones, who Sam is with Exit Real Estate Solutions, Jay Kim's office, and Sam does a superb job. Sam is the listing agent on a property, 218 Wexford Court, out of Wexford on the Lake. And this is a beautiful listing. We're having a lunch and learn next Thursday. I believe it's March 10th. And it'll start up around 11:30. From 11:30 about 12, we'll get everybody signed in and everything. And then we'll have food, plenty of fellowship. And we're going to be talking about the short sale process, because believe it or not, we're still dealing with a lot of short sales in this market. Properties that are subject to short sale. Short sale is essentially a sale that is short of foreclosure. Mm-hmm. So it's a sale that ends up being sold for less than what is owed, but because of that, you've got to get the default seller's lender's approval. And so it requires a third-party approval. And so we're talking about what a real estate professional needs to do to ensure that their client is protected in that process, what a listing agent needs to do to ensure that the general real estate community understands that this is a short sale issue and the kind of disclosures that need to be made. And this is a seminar, in my opinion, something that every real estate professional should try to make, because there's an awful lot of short sales out there that are not being handled properly. And what I will tell you, Frankie, is the agent exposes not only themselves but their clients to potential liability associated with these failed failed procedures and failed disclosures. So we look forward to getting together with some good agents. Hope you can maybe make it. I know that's right during your class time, so I don't know that you'll be able to make that, but we look forward to it.
Well, and that is so important. In fact, I'm very glad you called about this subject because, and I tell agents, especially when they're just getting their license, and we talk about short sales in the classroom, but I also suggest until they have significant training in short sales to stay away from it. The seller's already having issues if they're doing a short sale, and the last thing we need is someone that's not competent to compound the problems.
No question, because the seller is going to be desperate, that lender is going to be desperate, and if there's somebody they can pin some blame on, well, you better believe it. They're going to they're looking for any float they can to try to float in a mountain, in a sea of debt. Yep. And so there's no question about that. But we look forward to it. Again, it's going to be March 10th, which is next Thursday. And you can. We've sent this out over an e-blast, Frankie. So if you wouldn't mind, maybe putting that on your website.
Sure.
And guess who is our participating lender?
Who?
Erica Hill West, which we're very excited about.
Our mortgage go-to gal.
Our one and only mortgage go-to gal, and she does. I tell you, Erica does just a super job. She's wonderful. She's so responsive, and I enjoy so much. I've really enjoyed seeing the pictures of that little baby of hers growing up.
Yeah, really.
Man, I tell you, he's something else, isn't he?
He is.
But we look forward to having Erica there for us as well to kind of tap into what lenders' approaches will be in these short sales and the kind of things that lenders are looking for to get approval, and the kind of things that lenders will oftentimes require, like reduced commissions and like the seller not being able to bring money to closing or receive anything from close, this kind of thing. So we're going to learn a lot, and we look forward to having a great turnout there. Please call our office at 803-744-0824. I have hired a new marketing assistant. I lost my sweet girl, Erin. She's gone back to work with her husband, and so we're very excited for her, and that's a good move for her, and we're excited about that. But we have hired Mariah Merkel, who is our new marketing assistant. She's wonderful, and I think she's going to do a great job and is already doing a great job. But please call Mariah at 803-744-0824, and if we can ever be of any assistance to any of your listeners in real estate or in an auto accident, any kind of issue, please make us your first and only call.
You're the man. You're the man. Andy, thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
Have a good one, buddy.
Bye-bye now.
All righty. And again, if you missed Andy's information or his contact information, whether you want to register for this Lunch and Learn or you need some legal help, Andy On with On & McKay Law Firm, they do an awesome job. Again, go to frankiegriffin.com, click on Real Estate Partners, and there you'll find all his contact information, and he'll be more than happy to help you. And I know we don't have a lot of time left in this segment, but in the last segment, what I want to kind of take a look at are some of the market statistics from last year and what we're actually already looking at this year. I think you might be very surprised at this. We're going to look at where the number one market area in the Midlands will be. In fact, we'll look at the top three. And then where are the most expensive houses selling in the Midlands? We're going to take a look at that too. But I'd love to hear from you. The number to call is 799-8255. 799-8255. Be right back with Success in Real Estate.
Our website experience. This is The Point. 95.9 FM and 1470 AM.
All right, good morning again. Welcome back to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin. Thank you for joining us this morning. And again, this is our last segment, so if there's any real estate questions you have, anything I can help you with, that's what we want to do. We want to make sure you make an informed decision in your next real estate transaction. And I just wanted to kind of touch on some statistics, real estate statistics around the Midlands here. And and I don't do this often, but I think it's interesting to look at these here from time to time. One of the things that I noticed right off the bat, and this has been this way for a few years now, but the number one area, when I say number one, where the most houses have sold around the Midlands is in the northeast part or part of Columbia. There's actually been 2,353 houses sold. Now, this is last year. This is for 2015. But 2,353 houses have sold in the Northeast last year with an average sales price of about $186,000. So that's pretty good. And then you've got an average days on the market of 101 days. And here's something I find a lot of people get very interested in. You know, based on what the properties were listed for, what percentage of that list price did it actually sell for? And in the Northeast last year, it was about 97%. So obviously, on average, the seller in the Northeast got about 3% less than what they actually listed it for, and I think that's pretty good. The second top area around the middle was actually Lexington, and the surrounding area right around Lexington. There they had 2,127 houses sold with an average sales price of $195,000, only 85 days on the market, and they got 98% of their list price. So that was very good. And then the third, and I won't go any further than this, but the third top selling area was the Irmo St. Andrews area, where we had just almost 1,500. It was actually 1,497 properties sold for on average of 154,000. Again, 84 days on the market and 99% of its list price. So that's getting close to full price right there. And, you know, to me, this means a lot, because when you start seeing 99%, to me, that tells me if we're not already in a seller's market, we are so close it's not even funny. In fact, I'd be willing to say we're no longer in a buyer's market. If anything, we may be on the fence. But when you start seeing 98 and 99% of the list price on average, I mean, that's pretty good if you're thinking about selling your house. Now, a couple other statistics I just wanted to sort of point out is where are the most expensive houses in the Midlands, and where are they being sold? Well, I'm sure you've probably already guessed, around Lake Murray. That's where your top dollar homes tend to be. And but the most expensive houses, it looks like around Lake Murray, are on the Chapin side, Irmo Chapin side, and on average they're selling for about $517,000, with 94% of the list price is what it's actually selling for. And then on the Lexington side of Lake Murray, it's right around $427,000 per again, on average, again, with 94% of the list price. So not quite as good as in terms of what they're selling for. But, you know, when you get that much money, that's still pretty good. That's still very good, in my opinion. So you got to, those are some of the statistics right there for last year. Now, how are we doing this year so far compared to the same time last year? Well, I ran some stats just for the first January and February of last year. And now this is for the Midlands as a whole, so this is not broke out into one particular area. But the average sales price last year for the first 2 months was just over $159,000, with 113 days on the market. This year, the average sales price for January and February is $179,000. So that's a $20,000 increase, with the average days on the market at 97. So they're selling for more, and the days on the market has come down. So to me, I just think that's really incredible. Now, the other statistic here, and even though it's not a huge difference, the number of houses that were listed in January and February of last year was 2,876 houses. This year, there's only been 2,780, so about 100 houses less this year. So why am I bringing this up? Well, a couple reasons. One, inventory is very low right now, which is one of the reasons you're starting to see sales prices go up. When we're showing houses to buyers, it's actually taking buyers a lot longer to find a house that they like. There's just not that many out there right now. Inventory is very low, especially when you're looking for really nice houses. There's just not many out there. So that makes it a lot longer, a lot tougher for the buyer to find. And when you do find it, then buyer, you're going to have to pay for it. Sellers know this now, and they're not taking the punches they were taking here a couple years ago or so. So if you're thinking about selling, obviously now is the best time. Y'all, this is an awesome time. There's a lot of buyers out there right now. They're looking for nice houses, and they're having a hard time finding what they want. So if you're thinking about selling, and I know a lot of people that say, well, I'm going to wait till the spring, and that's fine. If you want to wait till the spring, that's fine. I don't think you'll have any problems doing that. But if you're ready to sell, let's do it. In fact, we would love to come talk to you about that. We at the Palmetto Success Team, again, we are a true team. We work together. So you're hiring a full team of professionals to help you with that. If you don't know any service providers like home inspectors or plumbers, attorneys, lenders, and whatnot, we've got people we've been working with for many years. Be glad to refer you to them. But, I feel like I'm pleading, and I am. If you're thinking about selling, please go ahead and give us a call. You don't have to put your house on the market today or this week or next week, but we can at least sit down and talk about what your goals are and what we can do to help. Because I would be willing to say, I don't know of anybody that does some of the things that we do to market your house. And if you're going to sell, marketing is everything to get the top dollar in as short amount of time possible. But some of the things that we do, and I know if you've been listening for a while to this show, you've already heard this, but we do professional photography. I provide at my expense a home inspection to make sure. There's a lot of reasons we do that, and we don't have much time, so I won't get into it right now. A full home appraisal, that is huge marketing for the buyer. And the next thing is you'll be featured on the Success in Real Estate radio show as a featured property. And we've gotten so much, or had so much success over that, gotten a lot of calls from people after we've talked about properties on our featured property segment. So it's a great time to call. My cell number is 315-7303. Again, 315-7303. And again, if you missed any of that, always just go to my website, frankiegriffin.com. Excuse me. www.frankiegriffin.com. You'll find all my contact information there. Look forward to hearing from you. Hope you have a great, safe weekend. Talk to you next week with some more Success in Real Estate.